Top Med Talk.
Well, hello, I'm Desiree Chappell, and this is Top Med Talk. We are live from the European Anesthesiology Congress, EUROANES2019 in Vienna, and I'm here with Editor-in-Chief of Top Med Talk, Monty Mythen. Good morning, Monty.
Another bright and sunny day.
It is. It is absolutely gorgeous. I had the most wonderful walk here this morning.
Oh,
I was like, well, this is what's walking to work. Yeah. It's like in a beautiful city and the sun shining. And
under the railway track by the...
It's a quiet rail. I mean, it's like it was silent walking to work this morning. It was great.
And I just had a great coffee.
Yeah, actually the coffee is
it's
really
very good. Little
yeah.
machine around the corner there.
Yeah.
It's reassuringly expensive for making it for yourself, if you see me. But push your own button, but well done.
Whatever works. Monty, we're here in the booth at the European Society of Anesthesiology's EUROANES 2019 meeting. What do you think of the booth?
Wonderful. Very, very nice. The similar setting to the one we used in the SCA, different... similar backdrop put together, which I, if everyone has a close look at it, they can see it's pieced together different cities we've worked in around the world.
I know. So that's the London Eye, right?
It is that. No, it's not.
We'll have to put a picture up online. We'll show you guys.
And over here's a bit of Disney behind my back.
Yeah,
but also
it's
generously supported by Edwards Life Sciences, one of our main sponsors, very generously supporting free open access medical education. So thank you very much indeed to them.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And the ESA for their support.
The ESA and Edwards Life Sciences, thank you very much. This weekend, we've been sitting around with some of the presenters and speakers, key opinion leaders, and delegates, too, which is some of my favorite conversations that we have whenever we're at meetings like this, the people on the ground that get to enjoy the conference. And you really get a firsthand look at what's kind of going on here on the ground. So today, we're privileged to sit down with a friend of the Top Med Talk family. We made a friend earlier this year at Spocky, actually. Konstantin Balonov. Hi, Konstantin. How
Thank you very much for inviting me. Yes, that was great.
Yeah, I'm glad to finally get you sitting down with us because we met this past spring or winter at one of the meetings.
We met at Spocky.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, it was in February this year.
Yeah.
And ever since I've been listening to Top Med Talk pretty much every day. It's a wonderful now sound check on my way home from work. Much better than listening to any kind of news channels or anything.
Yeah, well, these days for sure.
These days for certain.
Thank you.
Konstantin, that is a fantastic European name. Now, was privileged to do grand rounds at your institution recently. We'll give the punchline on that in a second. But where are you from originally?
Well, originally I'm from Russia. I was born and raised in St. Petersburg, where I also went to medical school and did my anesthesia training. And then 3 years later, after I finished my anesthesia training, we made the decision to move to further a little bit in Western Europe. And I ended up in Germany for the next 8 years or so, where I also did completed my anesthesia training in critical care, and then decided to move on to the United States. So at this point, I'm legally board certified in 3 different countries.
Oh my gosh.
And trained also in 3 countries, because in the United States I had to repeat my training as well. So that was pretty a long road.
And you went to the closest. You didn't go too far in.
No.
You kept it.
No, I stayed on the East Coast. Yeah. So that's like the closest connection to Europe. So ever since I've been there. So
at Tufts, right?
Well, I did my training at Boston Medical Center.
Okay.
Which is a teaching hospital of Boston University. And then moved to Tufts. I did critical care training too at Beth Israel. And then in Boston, and then joined faculty at Tufts Medical Center and been there since 2009. So 10 years will be in about 3 weeks.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Well, that's a fantastic story.
Now, when we were walking into grand rounds in Tufts, we walked across a bridge, and it talked about the floating children's hospital, if I remember that correctly.
That's correct,
I thought, man, where's the boat? What's the history there?
There used to be a boat. That's no longer a boat anymore, because people did believe in the past that like a sea breeze is nice and healthy for children. It was, as a matter of fact, there was a floating hospital for children, for sick kids in Boston Harbor.
Oh my gosh.
Goes back, 120 years or so. And there's still pictures. Monty saw them. There's pictures of the boats, sitting on the walls at Tufts Medical Center. So they named the hospital that now they moved inland It's called Floating Hospital for Children.
Oh, that's so sweet. That is really cool.
Yeah, it's a really nice hospital. Certainly not as big as Boston Children's Hospital, but it has its little niche. And we do a lot of pediatric surgeries. We do take care of kids with various conditions, bone marrow transplant unit, and many other things.
Do you do pediatrics yourself, or what are you focused in now?
Usually not. I'm not pediatric trained anesthesiologist. I do take care of relatively healthy kids who need reasonable surgeries.
Yeah.
I don't do little babies, but somebody who is 2 years old and older, that's expectation from
or something. Something easy
to do. But no, my focus is mostly perioperative medicine, because I became a couple years ago. I became vice chair for perioperative medicine in the department. So I'm working a lot of putting ERAS protocols together, implementation of ERAS protocols, working with surgery colleagues on it, and the other area that I'm working on is bariatric anesthesia, as well as major surgical oncology.
Wow, you're a busy guy.
So that's kind of keeps
we know that's a lot of hard work, putting all that stuff together.
So what brings you to the ESA then?
Yeah.
Well, ESA, it's to me, I've been going to ESA almost every year, probably in the past 8-9 years or so. It's a great networking, and that's I think for me, first of all, it's an opportunity to learn how things can be done different way. Like ERAS, for example, is one of those examples, because ERAS launched primarily here in Europe, first in Denmark, then England, and then other countries, and came to the United States much later, and so then you kind of don't really know unless you go to this meeting and talk to people and meet people, and you don't really know much what's going on outside the world. Because
do you think there is a big difference between the different
There are some
countries?
differences. There are some differences in practice. There are a lot of different things. I mean, I practiced also in Germany for 6 years, so I kind of still remember that certain things were done a little bit different way than it's currently in the United States. I'm not saying it's anything right or wrong. It's just different.
Yeah.
And then, talking to people, going to lectures, listening to European experts, or not even European. There's a lot of people from Israel here, there are people from Asia. It's kind of opens your eyes a little bit to different settings, different experiences.
And next year is the ultimate networking opportunity we have on a 4-year cycle, which is the World Congress. Do you ever get to the World Congress?
World Congress I've never been to.
Next year's in Prague next year. It rotates around the world, and Prague is a wonderful city to visit.
It's a wonderful city and a great destination. We'll try to make it there. That would be lovely.
You've got the dates on there,
right? September 5
to 9, 2020. The World Congress. That's the biggest gathering. It's not the biggest in number, but it's the biggest number of countries and societies represented.
That's true. Yeah.
Since the beginning, it's a federation of societies of anesthesiology.
World Federation.
It's wonderful, and the speakers all support themselves to get there.
That's right.
So there's no. You kind of if you're going to be there as faculty, you put your hand in your pocket and you get yourself there.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think the largest for numbers is still the ASA, if I'm not mistaken, because the ASA usually have about 17,000, 18,000 attendees.
Yeah.
And,
it's the biggest footfall, And then the Chinese Society, I think, is now number 2.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Can't imagine.
Oh, interesting. There are a lot of... It's so fun to be here. And really, at the ASA, I felt like it was just so... it was international. I mean, you saw so many people from all over the world, and I know that they're really, trying to outreach to other countries and
it's also fun that everyone speaks with some kind of accent.
I don't know. That's not fun for me.
Apart from the English. We don't have an accent.
Apart from me.
One of the things that struck me at Tufts is, which I think is one of the networking opportunities here, is you do get involved in the global multi-center trials. You're a recruiting site.
That's
which
correct.
Many American colleagues tell us they struggle to do that for reasons I don't completely understand. But you're managing it. You're joining in with the trials.
Well, we became a site of this multi-center international trials called ProBees, which we completed about a year ago.
Oh, okay.
I think it was right before last year, the ESA meeting. It was completed. It was a great trial. I was very interested. And because I was also involved and still involved with bariatric anesthesia, it was like perfect in my settings. And
give us a little bit of thumbnail sketch of what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, that was about different modes of mechanical ventilation of morbidly obese patients in the operating room. And tomorrow, as a matter of fact, there will be a meeting at 11 a.m. They will present the results. Finally,
fantastic!
It's been about a year that they took a year to analyze. We enrolled altogether over 2,000 patients worldwide. United States was compared to Europe was slightly behind with number of sites that were recruited, but still we had probably 7 or 8 centers in the United States, and Tufts was, I believe, number 3 in terms of number of patients we recruited for this study. Number 1 was Mayo Clinic, followed by, I believe, University of Florida, and then it was us and a few other centers. Yeah. So I'm really happy that we had a chance to contribute. It was fun to work with, and it still is. And now last year I became aware of another kind of interesting study that will be launched hopefully a year from now. It's called Squeeze.
I love all these.
Let's have a guess. Have a guess what that one's about. That one might be easier.
Orange juice.
The principal investigator, as a matter of fact, just walked by here. I just saw him walking around here. And that's a study about using of vasopressors in the post-operative period.
Okay.
Oh, post-op.
And it just happened at this point I'm the only one person from the United States who kind of became interested. Probably because not that many people are aware of this study.
Yeah. Nobody wants to admit they use vasopressors?
Pretty much by default, I became a national coordinator for this.
Oh,
so I'm going to try to get more people on board.
Can I get a bit more detail on that? So when you say in the post-operative period, does that include on the floor? Or?
Well, that includes, again, it a little bit depends on countries' standards. So, for instance, in my hospital, you cannot use vasopressors on regular floor.
Yeah.
So if patient requires vasopressors, patient needs to either stay in the recovery room in the PACU or go to ICU. In other hospitals, there is such a thing as a step-down unit.
Yes.
Sometimes in some countries it's okay also to use vasopressors on regular floor. So that was a little bit. We had a meeting yesterday, and we had a quite extensive discussion between different colleagues. There was someone from Denmark, there was someone from Slovakia, from Germany, myself, PIs. One of the PIs is from the UK, the other one is from Norway. And so we discussed how study can be pretty much implemented. It's a very ambitious study. They're trying to enroll over 50,000 patients worldwide.
Whoa.
And the way it works, it will be essentially every patient that undergoes major abdominal surgery will be enrolled in the study, and then we'll just see if patient requires or doesn't require pressors at the end of the study, at the end of the surgery.
So is it a longitudinal sort of point prevalence study?
Correct.
So
it's observational.
Exactly.
It's observational. There is no randomization. You just observe the patient, and then you collect.
So big
data.
numbers, like the fluid ones the Australians have done, where they say, when we ask all the different places in this particular epoch of time, this country's giving 60% of patients a norepinephrine infusion, and this country's giving none.
That's
sort of
pretty much what it is.
Okay, cool.
There's a huge difference in the practice nowadays. Back, let's say, 10 years ago, I remember we were much more aggressive in fluid resuscitation.
Yes.
Nowadays, with ERAS protocols, we're a little bit more restricted, trying to find this golden point when really patient is optimized with fluid, but it's not always that easy.
No.
And because we're trying to restrict the fluids, some patients require more pressors. So it's kind of interesting to see.
Or get more pressors.
That's more. That's true. Yeah.
That's something that we worry about, is that people may be getting more pressors. Some of them require it, but some might be getting it.
They're giving it.
So that's
it's a live question.
Hopefully within a year we'll be able to launch it and get it all situated with ethical board committees and in different countries, because it's also a problem with international trials that IRB requirements, ethical boards are a little bit different. For instance, in Norway, in the UK, they said, we don't require any consent at all. It's just purely observational study. In the United States, it's a little bit different.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily that you need a full consent informed, but because you're going to store patient's data on a server, you still need to talk to the patient, explain, and get consent for using patient's data, even though patients will not be identified. So all the names will be erased, of course.
Yeah, it's a process. It's a process. Well, Konstantin, it was so great to catch up with you. Thank you so much for sitting down with us. This is fantastic.
Well, it was really great pleasure to see you in Vienna, one of my probably favorite cities in the world. I would say the second favorite. And that was great.
And hopefully we'll see you again soon at one of our meetings in the USA, but definitely we hope in Prague next year. The World Congress.
Quite appealing.
We should start giving a shout out for that every time. The World Congress is a wonderful thing. I think we should look it up.
Yeah,
so.
definitely.
Go to all the other meetings too. Yeah. Obviously. Come back to the ESA, go to the ASA, come to the EdPom meetings, but get to the World Congress.
Yeah.
That was wonderful. Also, I'm really happy that you launched this initiative, that you promote so much this perioperative medicine, which is our future.
Yeah.
Now, people, especially in the United States, we anesthesiologists became much more perioperative physicians than we used to be. When I started my training, back in Russia, like mid-90s or Germany, my job was to be in the OR all the time.
Yeah.
So I spent probably 90% of the time in the operating room taking care of that one patient. Nowadays, it's different. I'm not in the OR anymore.
Yeah.
I supervise my people, either nurses or residents. I rarely do cases myself. I still enjoy it very much.
Yeah.
I just don't have much opportunity to do so because I need to work outside the OR and optimize these patients and take care of other things.
Yeah, cool. Well, Konstantin, again, great to catch up with you. Thank you so much. And look forward to seeing you soon, talking to you soon.
That's wonderful.
So everyone, thank you for listening, catching us here at ESA 2019. Be sure to subscribe on your podcatcher if you haven't done already to Top Med Talk. Follow us on social media. We're on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. I think we've been putting some stuff up there, haven't we, Nick? Yep, on Twitter. And also, if you want to sign up for our newsletter on topmedtalk.com, that really helps us to gather just a little bit more information about who's listening, so we can really have outreach with all you guys that listen on a regular basis for sure. Yeah, Monty?
And if there's something we're not talking about that you think we should, just contact us. We had that we got pinged yesterday about obstetrics. We rose to the challenge.
We did. Yeah. We're more than happy to cover, anything that you guys want to hear more of. Or if you feel like really passionate about something, wanting to talk to us.
Bring it on.
Yeah, let's do it. And really what helps us the most, Monty, is whenever people share with their friends, isn't it? Their colleagues, residents, trainees, students. That really helps us to spread the word about what we're trying to do here on Top Med Talk. So, again, thanks for listening. Follow us a little bit later in the day. Thanks. Bye.
Top Med Talk. Nick Majerison here. Thanks for listening to Top Med Talk. Now, before we let you go, it's important that we remind you to subscribe to Top Med Talk. That way you'll never, ever miss another episode. Also, if we could encourage you to join us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, pretty much every single social media platform, we're there. Join us. And finally, check out topmedtalk.com. If you go to our website, you can subscribe to email updates. That way we can always tell you where we're going to be, what we're going to be doing, and how you can join us. topmedtalk.com and click on the section marked email updates. Finally, Top Med Talk is proud to act as the broadcasting arm of EdPom, evidence-based perioperative medicine. We'd love you to find out more about them as well. edpom.org is their website. That's ebpom.org. And if you go to edpom.org/meetings, you can find out about some of the wonderful meetings that we attend and cover across the year here on Top Med Talk. That's edpom.org/meetings.